Now on the letter written by the former president to the president. We've got Ogunsanwo, our data and information analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Okay, let's go through this. But what could you have possibly found in this letter?
Now, there are several similarities that this letter has with one that was written by Mahatma Gandhi 8.5 decades ago. Now, Mahatma Gandhi had also written to the government 1932. That was a decade before Buhari was even born. Now, in his letter to the government, he had talked about an ordeal that the nation faced. Intense tension was the word he used. Now, what are the similarities between Gandhi's letter of January 1932 and Obasanjo's letter of January 2018? We'll look at that. But before we even talk about that, we should also really consider what are even the three things Nigerians are talking about and asking. The first is, do all these letters affect the price of Gari? The second is, why does President Obasanjo interested in President Buhari not contesting in 2019? And the third is, what possibly should Buhari do? Should he listen to President Obasanjo? And those are the three most critical things Nigerians are talking about. Let's first of all look at, does and do all these letters back and forth affect the price of Gari, which is what the common man is asking. Now, the evidence shows that if we look at President Obasanjo's letter to Jonathan in 2013, then the NBS says the food inflation rate in November 2013, remember, that letter was dated December 3rd. So food inflation, as at when President Obasanjo wrote to President Jonathan, food inflation was 9.5%. A year after, the food inflation change, even though President Obasanjo had written to Jonathan, no, it was still approximately 10%. And so, historically, letters don't change the price of food.
Does that then mean that if we go by that premise, does it apply when they say, well, the letter may not necessarily affect the performance or the outcome of the next elections?
It could, Chamberlain, and that is why Nigerians are asking, why is President Obasanjo interested in President Buhari not contesting in 2019? Now, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. It might shock you, and it affects the unity of this country. No woman, or no person rather, born of a woman, no person living or dead has defeated President Buhari in the North. That is a fact. No one, living or dead, in all 4 elections that President Buhari has contested, no one has defeated him in the northern space of Nigeria. Now, what do I mean? President Obasanjo understands this. In 2003, when sitting President Obasanjo ran for the second time, what did he score even in the northern part of Nigeria? When I say northern Nigeria, we're looking at those 3 zones. President Obasanjo only had 8.9 million votes in the north. Candidate Buhari scored 12.3 million votes. This was against sitting President Obasanjo. He defeated him in the north. In 2007, the same trend happened. The results were quite similar, that even INEC chose not to release the results state by state because President Buhari, candidate Buhari again, won in the north. In 2011, against President Jonathan, who had been president since 2010, President Jonathan as well only scored 8.4 million votes in the north. Candidate Buhari in 2011 had over 11 million votes. 3 consecutive elections that no one had defeated him in the north. Now, why is this important? I'll explain all of this carefully. President Buhari, 2003, 2007, 2011, and 2015 never been defeated in the North, but as well has never won an election in the South. And so in 2003, when he contested for the first time, even though he won in the North, he didn't become president because he didn't have sufficient votes from the South. That same trend occurred in 2007 and 2011. President Obasanjo knows this. And eventually, when President Buhari discovered the secrets, which was he always won in the North, and all he required was to find friends in the South. And so today we find a complex position where President Buhari by himself doesn't divide the nation, but President Obasanjo understands that President Buhari's supporters and his elections divides the country. Because you have a president who's never lost an election in the North, and we also have a president who has never won an election in the South. And so President Obasanjo understands that come 2019, will Nigerians still want a president who will win in the North, however, will still lose in the South, which further divides the country. And that is the genesis of why 2019 discussions have started. But more than the reasons why President Obasanjo has said President Buhari shouldn't contest in 2019, because of the potential of the country going into disunity, is for us to really ask ourselves, should President Buhari even listen to President Obasanjo? Now, there are two divided opinions. There are some that say, yes, he should listen, and there are some that say, no, he shouldn't listen. So let's carefully consider both sides. Now, the argument that says, no, President Buhari shouldn't listen, are those that take us back to what had happened in 1998, Gimba. Now, in 1998, just before the elections, according to the president of the CAN, the Christian body, CAN, Dr. Sunday Mbaka, and we have that evidence, whereby Sunday Mbaka says that on August 26 of 1998, President Obasanjo visited him at Wesley, at the Methodist Center in Lagos in Marina, and promised him that he wasn't going to contest in 1999. And so he said, just as even Obasanjo had said, and which was reported, that family members had even advised him not to contest. The leader of this Christian body said that President Obasanjo had also told him he was not going to contest. But the President Obasanjo listened to the advice. No, he didn't. And so a lot of people that argue say there's an evidence, or history shows, that this general that is advising President Buhari today isn't one that easily takes to advice. And so why should they expect this other general to listen to him?